Thanks for joining us. This is live with Miami's Community News, and our guest today is Gustavo Hermida.
Hermida, yes.
Hermida,
you did it good.
All right, yes, okay. And you're with the RDS Team, which is a document and copying machine business. Now, we've been doing business for a long time. You've been taking care of our needs for about 10 years. But tell us, first of all, generally speaking, what your company does, and we're going to go into how you wound up in this place.
So our company is an office solutions provider. So basically, we equip companies with the necessary tools so they can run their business efficiently when it comes to technology. That means you need to print documents. We give you a multifunction copier, printer, scanner. But then once you scan the document, you need to manage them. How do you store them? How do you secure them? How do you annotate? All of that becomes what we call document management. And that's, in general, that's really the roots of our company and what's still a great portion of the business that we do today. But we also offer an array of solutions. So you need a voice over IP phone. We provide that. We provide camera systems. We provide interactive.
You mean security cameras?
Security
in
cameras
your business.
Well, we install security cameras for your business.
Yes.
You want to manage a warehouse. You want to see what's going on. You want to get alerts. We install all of those things. We provide interactive flat panel displays, which are these huge screens that you can actually do a shared meeting and make your annotations. And you could be sitting in the beach on your own personal laptop and making your own annotations. And we can have people all over the world cooperating into a document live.
Howard's producing the show, and I got to tell you, Howard, when he starts talking like that stuff's floating around over here.
Well, it's funny because technology keeps moving at such rapid pace, and this is where our business is business that primarily put images on paper, and people are printing less, but that doesn't mean that people are having less information to share.
So I'll bet when you started in this arena, it wasn't this involved. And it didn't evolve to where it is. So tell us how you got started.
It's funny. Well, I got started in New York City. I needed a job, and I wanted a job that wore a tie. So I applied for a company called Savin at the time in New York City, and I got it was a very fortunate. I'm originally from Argentina. I've had an accent all my life. I think it was worse then, but. In any case, I interviewed, I was granted an opportunity, and I felt that sales and selling technology to office environments was the right thing, and I made a career out of it. I worked for companies for many, many years, Michael, in different roles, director, sales manager, and RDS is an interesting story because I really started this company late in life. I was 52 years old, and one day I said, I'm never going to get there unless I have a business of my own. My wife, Maxine, she's been my biggest supporter. We're married 40 years, and she says, if you feel that you can do it, go ahead, I'll support you. And so I cashed in my 401k, and I said, I'm going to do it. I found the right partner. I have a partner. His name is Mike Martin. And Mike is a terrific guy, hardworking guy. We used to work together at a company many, many years ago. And I approached him with the idea.
What year was that?
That was the year 2010. Well, we started the conversation in 2009, but in 2010.
Howard, would you put some pictures up on the screen there? Maybe we have a picture that maybe the outside of the building, but when you can, let's put up this warehouse filled with the products that you have that you take care of. Somebody calls you up, you can pick it out, help them out, and figure out how to solve it.
So our business model is very simple. It starts with, that's a picture of our warehouse with many of the units. I'll go back in history. That's Dave, one of our managers, and he runs the wholesale division, which is an area that is growing. That's one of our technicians doing some repairs.
Since you brought about wholesale, what do you wholesale?
Okay, so our business today, I go back. I started in 2010 and I had 0 customers. Okay, it was basically one at a time. We had a division that did export sales. We exported machines to Latin America in containers of machines. So we had a good amount of inventory for that. But we kept growing our company to the point that, like I said, one customer at a time, one relationship at a time. Our business is a consultative sale. So we consult with a business owner, see what makes the most sense for them, and give them the right advice as far as what kind of machines make sense.
So you have from small machines to large machines.
The machine is just a part of the equation. Okay, the machine I have from small to large, depends on what you need. But what goes after the machine is the service and support that a customer, a business needs when there's a problem with the machine. And that's really what makes a difference. We grew our company in terms of our revenue to the point that in 2018 we were recognized by Inc. magazine as one of the fastest growing private companies in United States.
So 8 years after you started.
8 years after we started, we were nominated in the Inc. 5000, position 1590. Okay, and very proud of that growth. But all the growth, and when anybody has ever asked me about it, is really one of the time is coming through with the promises that you make. Okay, so at the time of an interview, at the time of a pre-sale, obviously you find out what they need. You make sure you put them on the right agreement.
You bring up something interesting. Sometimes people say, "I need this, whatever this is." In fact, all right, that may not be it. They're trying to solve a problem.
Right, exactly.
Right? And so frequently you say, I need to, this is, instead of saying, this is broken, what do we need to do so we can accomplish whatever it happens to be?
And many times in our fact-finding sessions, people think they may need something, and we may say, you don't really need to spend that kind of money, or you don't need to invest on that. There's a couple of different things in our industry. Obviously, I talk about copy machines, and copy machines are pricey devices. It could be $10,000, $12,000. So a lot of people use third-party leasing. The thing with third-party leasing, which is a very great thing, I always say you lease what depreciates, you buy what appreciates. So leasing is the best way to acquire equipment. But with that said, there are leases and there are leases. We have leases in our portfolio that are flexible. So if you're a startup business and you don't have historic credit, we can extend your credit and we provide you the right lease tool. Or if you're a not-for-profit and you're struggling for fundraising dollars, we can help you with that. But we also make them flexible. And if you look in our website, we call it flexible subscription.
And that's rdsteam.com?
rdsteam.com is our website. And if you go in there, you see even offers in there. But the most important thing is, I always said, and this has always been a personal belief, would you ever hire an employee you can never fire? Well, why would you ever sign a contract you can never cancel? So that's how we make ourselves different. We give you an out. I mean, I'm not saying, if you need to fire me, you have the right to do so if I didn't do my job right. So my responsibility is to make sure that we do the job right. And all of our 5-star Google reviews are an evidence that, our customers believe that we're doing our job right.
And certainly in the last 5 years, and certainly in last year, people have their minds on other things. And to have a machine broken and the stuff that it does, all right, can be really traumatizing. All right. For instance, when on our machines that we have from you, we put it on there, we scan it, we send it to different people, which is like, wow, we just replaced email. Even though it goes by email, all right, it replaces having to put it onto a computer because the machine is a computer.
Right. Well, the machine is a computer and is a node on your network. Okay. And there's many things that happen when you have the machine be part of your network. But like I said to you before, you want the tool to work when you need it most. And that is the time when you tell the difference between one vendor and the other. When the machine breaks down, when you run out of toner, and you say, I need something going on, we guarantee a 4-hour response time. You can go into our website, open a ticket online, and automatically generate
I'm glad you brought that up, because years ago when you started that and we were told, oh, you have to go online to do it, we got a little like, oh, what do you mean? And now that's standard. Everybody does that.
Okay, right? Well, that's interesting. But, it's funny because a lot of people are still they're reactive to change, and they're not, happy by just going online. They want to talk to a person. So you can do that. You can always call our main number. You're going to get an operator, and the operator is going to talk to you, understand what you need. In our office, we have Melissa. Melissa handles our incoming service requests and talks to the technicians and make sure that we are available and flexible. One of the differences that we like to believe we do is ownership is accessible to any customer. You have, if there is a problem, and this is when sometimes I compete with other companies and they say, well, why should I not buy a Xerox instead of a Ricoh from RDS? Well, you have your right and you can do your due diligence. On the other side, sometimes when you feel that you deal with a big company, you're just another number, okay? Or you're dealing with a middle level manager that if they need to get anything resolved, they need to go 10 levels up, okay? We make direct decisions.
And I think that's important in the world of big box stores and big box companies to get stuck on if they have a phone number that's available and you do everything they ask. There's an 800 number for some phone companies. No, the business is a different phone number. I said, I've been on the phone for 10 minutes. That's common. The people's frustration gets overwhelming. And to be able to call a place and get the boss on the phone, all right, really makes a difference in the comfort level of the customer, which is, all right, I spoke to him or her, and things are on the way. And whenever we've needed more supplies, we'd call you up or email or whatever it was, in a day or two, whatever it was, they would.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously there is a standard. There's things that we can do, but we are here to service you, and if you're happy, you're going to continue to do business with us, and hopefully recommend us to others. And that's really how we've grown.
And you have a lot of local businesses that you take care of here.
Yes. Well, we started as a local company. But we've expanded our foot coverage. We have an office in Florida. We have an office in Orlando. So it's not just South Florida we attend. Of course, our head corporate office is in South Florida. That's some of the pictures that you saw. But the most important part of our growth has been because we offer flexible agreements. And flexible means that if, people start a business and hopefully everything goes well, but sometimes it doesn't, okay? And if it doesn't, you don't want to be stuck with a contract you cannot get rid of, okay? We offer a solution for that.
Howard, could you just flip through some pictures? And folks, we're going to be talking and I'll flip the pictures. If you see something you want to come on.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, feel free to do it. So there's a local healthcare facility, which you served on the board for years. Why don't you tell us about why you got involved?
Yeah, that's interesting. You bring that up. CHI. I'm a resident of Cutler Bay, and I've driven by CHI, and CHI has always been an organization. So obviously, that we support. I'm actually a vice chair on the CHI Foundation, and that is, an inner belief of mine has always been, if you do good, you get good. You get good back. So obviously, part of what we try to do is be involved in the community that we serve, that has given us so much. By serving the Community Health Foundation, we feel that we're giving back to the community.
And CHI, for the folks who know, provides health care, all right, throughout Dade and Monroe counties. They have different facilities.
Right. CHI started as a need. Doris Eisen, back when, is going to celebrate a 50th anniversary, and Doris Eisen, which is a local resident, nothing so special, but she was motivated. I remember her motto was, too many people are dying on the way to Jackson, okay? And that became, we need to have some healthcare, and then they set up a trailer. And before we know it, today there's like 11 different CHI
and
centers.
Colonel Bradley's been the CEO there for 25 plus years.
Terrific man. The amount of energy that he brings to the organization is incredible.
And they call him Colonel.
Yes, he's a colonel.
Because he served in the armed services for a quarter century.
That is correct.
Right? And I saw him not too long ago. My hat's off to him and to the team that's really made a huge difference, to the community. And we did some research into it. We realized if you can't get there, they will go get you. All right. If you don't have any food, they're going to make sure that you eat. They don't send you home without.
Well, the CHI serves the underserved, and there's a lot of need in this world, unfortunately. So anything that we can do to help the underserved, it's a way to get back.
So the local small business guy that's got a warehouse, out of West Kendall or North Miami Beach, 1,000, 1,500 square feet. You take care of those guys also?
I take care of guys of all sizes. I take care of large corporations. I take care of small. So a typical, it could be an attorney, it could be a doctor, it could be a warehouse operation, it could be a distribution center. Everybody needs to put images on paper or capture images from paper so we can affect it. But it's incredible, like right now there's a distribution center in Doral that just started, and they sell basically cosmetics online, and they sell shipping tickets. You got to print the shipping tickets. Well, we help them with that technology, and then eventually they bought camera systems to protect the inventory, and then eventually we're providing IT services.
So they trust you enough, and it started off with the small thing, and it started growing.
Yeah.
Right. And it was interesting you bring that up, because our guy that puts up some of our work, I realized after a while, I said, will you run some of these wires for us? He says, of course. I also do that. I go, right. Yeah, but when we first hired him to do it, we didn't hire him for that.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden you start to trust, and you start to see that, and it's nice to see that. So
yeah, we have that. So the thing, Michael, is again, it's being a solution provider. That's really what we do. But the most important message that I'd like to convey to people is, before you sign another lease for another copy or another printer, or you think you are stuck in a contract, you have a friend in the business, call us. What we can do is just give you proper advice and guide you through. And sometimes it's just guiding through a way to unwind that contract, so you free yourself of a contract that could be too onerous for you, and provide you with the right equipment that and flexible agreements. So it's really a consult. So if you just entrust us with to give you the proper advice, you're going to make your own final decision. But ultimately, we want to expose you to different ways.
And I think that's what they want information, all right, and then so they can meet with their team and start talking about how to make it work for their business. And in our facility here, we have one copier in the back, and we have 3 in front, and then I think there's another one floating around, so that they all didn't have to go to the same place.
Well, exactly, because you have another department that needs to print in color, and you have an administration department that needs to print in black and white. So everybody has different needs, and that's just one of the implementations in which we can affect different areas.
So what does the future of document management look like?
That's a very good question, because obviously, although images on paper are diminishing, imaging is increasing. So there's more and more imaging, there's more and more contracts. So you scan a document, but now you have a scanned document. What can you annotate it? Can you make a note? Can you share it? Can you secure it? All of that is become a part of document management. So the answer is absolutely. As a matter of fact, we're becoming more and more relevant, okay? Not just on the printing side, but on the document management side. And document management talks to, when you secure if you secure all your customer records into the cloud, how secure are they? I mean, are you subject to, cyber attack? That is the advice that we bring to you.
So people about my age, over the age of 50, all right, as we struggle through, all right, we're still say, okay, and we do this in our production over here, say, Howard, give me the schedule for today. And so he'll give it to me, and then he's like looking over at the computer where it's over here. I go, so then I have to go get it, right? And on here, right? And we know that for some people it's a slow process, but as long as people have people around them that can do that, that's what works. What really worked for me is when we have a security system and I can access it on my phone. I go, that's how simple it was, right? And that's how simple these other things can be as far as document management. So I see that people have on your website made comments about your company. And when we look at that, testimonials matter a lot, right? Even if when you look at it, you say, well, of course they're only the good ones. Well, that matters, right? Because imagine if there weren't any, all right? It matters a lot, all right? Which is your next door neighbor. Oh, I know that person. I know that person over there. But is there a particular industry that is more in tune to the solutions that you have, and some that are
Well,
less?
obviously, there are more paper-intensive businesses than others. Okay, so a pizza shop is not a good customer, right? They're not very paper-intensive. They may print a couple of invoices in the office. An attorney, that's a good customer because they live in a world of paper, and although some of the filings are now done electronically, there's much paper to go around. So whether you print or you scan, that's a good business. But we really go across many industries. But legal, education, finance, those are primary business vertical businesses for us.
And tell us about the health industry, how it's tied into you as far as what's going on there as far as documents.
Well, in the healthcare industry, just the last few years, we tried to make more of a electronic data record, the way it can be shared and whatnot, and that meant that all the records that you had on paper needed to be converted to an electronic. Okay, and your processes needed to be incorporating in electronic. So we definitely play an active role.
And a couple of years ago, the government was giving out grants to either accelerate the programs or to pay them when they got there. And it does pay off, because if you're with a big healthcare facility and the different doctors can go and get it, and they don't have to like pass along the paperwork on that.
Well, that's right. You know, even if you change doctors, you need a copy of the records. It used to be that a physical transfer. Now it's just a scan and a transfer file. But when you transfer documents, you have to be thinking about the security of that transfer. So is that email that you're sending an encrypted email, or are the scans that you're sending, have they been encrypted scans so that you can feel assured that you're going to meet HIPAA compliance in the case of healthcare?
All right. So let's go back to when you were a young man. You said, I'm going to go to work for Savin. How old were you then?
Well, I'll give you a little bit of my personal story. I'm originally from Argentina. I came to this country in 1979 to study, and I never went back. We're very fortunate. A family member sponsored me and gave me a home, and very grateful for that. Later, I met who's still my wife today, and it was in 1982 when I said, you know what? I was living in Rockland County, New York, which is about 30 miles north of New York City, and New York, okay, if you can make it there, you make it anywhere.
I think I remember.
So that has always been my motivation. So I wanted a job in the city that I could wear a tie. I remember going to an interview, going to an open house. They had 10 openings, and there were over 250 applicants. And I went to an interview on a Tuesday night, and I said, oh my God, I didn't even own a suit, by the way. And that is a God honest truth.
How old were you then?
I was 24 years old.
Okay.
And so it was then. My wife came to me. Oh, let's go to the interview and make a night out of it. We'll go to dinner in the city. And she encouraged me, and I stuck to it. And I got one of those 10 jobs. And it was interesting because I have not been a salesperson. That was a sales job. And after I went through the training, something clicked on me that it was a very natural thing, because sales is not a role that you play. Sales is what you are. So it becomes a second nature thing. And when you can convey something that you believe in with just being open about it, you will get the right relationships.
You know, and we talked earlier about sometimes people say they want a certain thing. We get people that call us and say, how much is an ad? And what I really want to say to them is, you just sort of ask me, how much is a car? And it's like, and so we say to them, well, what are you trying to accomplish? Who are you trying to reach? What do you want in it? How do you want to reach those people? Right. And the same thing with you. People call you up. Their second question is, how much is it?
Well, price is just an equation of it,
yes.
But price without value means nothing. Okay. And I always like to say, you know, if you want a high price, you better deliver a lot of value. Okay. So a lot of people, and many people in sales, they think that they can just deliver very little value and get the highest price. And that's just not a fair equation. I sincerely believe in some principles in life that have to do with fairness. So if I put myself out there and I put my offering out there with the best intentions, and I hope that they're received that way. And ultimately, if I put myself in the customer's shoes, okay, it will they will reciprocate with a proper decision.
So there was a gentleman's name was Jose Almeida. We got 5 minutes left. In the early 80s, we were having a problem with, that's when multi-user computers, we had that, all right? And that to go from 5 megabytes of storage to 10 was $1,200. Mm-hmm. I said, we're having a problem with our computers. He said, I'm coming over. He said, I will stay here tonight until it gets done. 40 years later, we're still doing business with us.
Well, yes, right? Yeah, that's it.
Right? And exactly, because I know when I called her, now his son is about the age that I started dealing with the father, all right? I know when I have a problem that somebody's going to listen, all right? And they're going to take care of the problem, all right, until it gets solved. And I think that's what we want in life. This is a situation we need to solve.
Well, the thing is, nobody can promise. Sorry about that. Nobody can promise there will never be a problem. I never promised that anybody. Of course, it would be crazy that not going to be an issue. The question is, how we're going to help work towards resolving the problem. You mentioned the Google reviews, and I want to talk about that. We as a company have the most 5-star reviews than any competitor in our industry. If you go onto the website, or if you go to Google and you review them, those are true comments from our people, and that is an expression of how they felt. We tackled them. So, what I always say to people is, check us out.
And check us out. They can do it at RDS Team. All right.
Well, our website is rdsteam.com. And we also have a LinkedIn, Facebook, and all the above.
And you have lots of videos on there. You can check them out. He does actually
do RDS
pretty
talks.
Good job. I think you were wearing headphones and thing like that. There's about a dozen up there, right?
Yeah, it's a constant conversation that we have.
And people can find out about your company, rdsteam.com, and you can see the videos and meet part of your team. Gustavo, as always, thank you very much,
Michael. I appreciate your time.
And Tommy's at the control panel, and we want to do a plug for Mainline Marlins. You can catch it on Spotify. Where else, Tommy?
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Twitter, Facebook.
And your rankings are skyrocketing over there. Thank you for doing that. And this, you want to know about Marlins? This guy will tell you. I'm sure at night he's reading it. As we're trying to go to sleep, he's reading it on purpose and staying awake. Again, thanks for joining us, folks.
Thank you, Michael.
My pleasure. Again, our guest is Gustavo Hermida from rdsteam.com. Folks, have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.